Hello and welcome to Cedar Creek Homestead. Hope you're having a blessed day today. And today I'm taking a little walk around, show you a little garden update, another one. Trying to do one update every Saturday, air it every Saturday so you can see. And so I think I'll go out here and show you the strawberries and a few things like that. We planted strawberries from Starks and we had a little trouble. I don't think it's Stark's fault. I really don't know what the deal is, but they just didn't do very good. So we bought some, I like the June bearing strawberries, so I replanted, but they're coming along very well. And I'll show you what those look like. And we hadn't had these out very long and they already have strawberries on them. It's amazing how quickly they start in this warm weather. And I have a soaker hose through there. I've only watered them once because we've had enough rain to keep them going, but that little strawberry there is just loaded with blooms. And I didn't have enough to replant these right through here. And but here is some weeds. And these are from last year. These are ones that held over from last year, and they've got berries and need picked here, and Josie's been picking those. But that's a little look at the strawberry bed. And we've got elderberries, and yeah, these need weeded pretty bad. Josie's on the back porch. She's telling me those need weeded. I guess she's giving me a hint that I need to get out here, and I'm gonna she might be ordering. She said she's not hinting. I guess she's ordering. There's another elderberry. And say those are supposed to be very, very healthy for you. And this was another plum tree we put out here. And we have a plum over there. And then we had what was supposed to be a plum right here. And it's never made anything. I guess until this year we had a plum that was over here in this spot, and Josie's put some kind of bush there, but she planted there last year because we had a big pretty plum tree. It is loaded down with plums. A storm come through and just broke the whole thing over and just destroyed it. So this was supposed to be a plum. It's what it had on the package when we bought it from Tractor Supply. It was just a bare root, but it's producing peaches. And this is the first year for it to put on peaches, but it's going to do a wonderful job. There ain't very many high up, but down here low, we thought these leaves looked different from the other varieties or other plum trees, but we didn't really know. But look at them pretty little peaches that are coming on. Those are really looking cute. And our plum tree, this thing produces every year and does a wonderful job. And it's got some that are little bitty and that are trying, I just drunk that one off. But they don't have as many plums as it did last year. Man, last year this thing was just loaded with plums. And I have a couple of grapevines, and they look like they're going to make a bunch of grapes. Look at the little baby grapes there. And my idea is to get this vine going and to get it to come up here and spread both directions. And my other vines have died out, but I've got a new one planted right down there. But I want them to come up and climb up this panel, and I'm gonna make me an arbor over on the other side. I've got a video showing. Anyway, I got to get the rest of my grape arbor finished. My idea is to sit underneath the grape arbor and have Josie pick grapes and feed to me. But my dream hasn't turned out quite like I thought. But hopefully this year at least we'll have grapes. And she's up there on the porch. She just said dream on. I don't know if y'all can hear her or not. Let's go. Get in the pen. Good boy. Good boy. Keep the dog locked up in order to keep him from wandering around here and getting hurt. We've been having coyotes come up, so. But anyway, here's our lettuce, our leaf lettuce. It's doing really well. And our radishes, there's some of them coming on, but They're not as good as I'd like. My onions, they kind of got beat down in a hailstorm, but they are starting to make bulbs. That one there is going to make a little bulb. I've been able to grow real pretty onions out in the garden, but this year I tried them in these tubs because I had my garden fence tore down for a while, and I got to get out here and get the dirt pulled away from these, because they'll grow and do much better if you get the dirt away from those bulbs. But next year I'll put them back in the real garden, the big garden, or real garden, whatever you want to call it. We got this lettuce doing good, and I'm telling you, that's some of the best tasting lettuce I've ever had. I don't know why it's so much better this year, but it is good. And this purple lettuce, Josie picked this up somewhere, and I meant to keep the variety wrote down. I cut some off of this one here. It's kind of a romaine type lettuce. We had chicken roll-ups tonight, and I put some of this, chopped up some of the leaves and put in there, and I'm telling you, that is the best. If you like salads and stuff, that lettuce makes some of the best salad, in my opinion, that I've ever had. But it's going to show you the blackberries, and they are actually blooming and going to make berries. As little as they are, they're trying to produce. This one here, though, has died out on me. I think he's pretty much history, but the other 6, I've got 5 left then that are doing good. As you can see, that one's got little berries coming on. This one's blooming. These are Arapaho variety. I planted this bush last year, and it didn't look like it was going to do very much, but this year it's actually producing little blackberries. I don't know how big they'll be or how well it'll do, but it is actually producing some blackberries. And this one over here, I thought it was dead. I thought this little vine was all gone. So it was just barely there, and I thought, well, I'll leave it, and it started green a little bit. I said, well, we'll see what happens. So I planted cabbages in here, and the cabbages is taking it over, and I'm hoping they'll hurry up and make heads so I can get them out of there to get that blackberry vine. I was going to try these in tubs just to see. Texas Prepper 2 is trying them in tubs, and others say you can do them in tubs, so I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And Josie has a blueberry bush. We planted a few up through here last year, and we only had one bush that has survived, and it's trying to come out this year. We've had a little bad luck with blueberries. Here is our other peach tree, and we had a late frost, and I think it got some of the blooms, but as you can see there is a pretty little peaches. It's got several peaches, and it's coming along. We had those late frosts, and I notice up high there ain't hardly any fruit. There's a few on this particular tree, but there's a real pretty little old peach right there. And I've showed these on previous videos. These are golden delicious apples that we just planted this year, so it'll be a couple years before we get anything from them. We had 2 apple trees here, and they just died out on us. And I don't know what variety these onions are, but they do this every year. They'll look real pretty, and they're way too thick now. And what I'm going to do is put me some more soil in another tub over here and take these seeds and distribute in there and get them started again, because I think this just got 2. But this will make green onions, and as you can see down here, this stuff will die and it'll start this growth back out again. And I tell you, it's looking peaked, and I think it's because maybe we've had too much rain, but also I think it needs some fertilizer. I think it has just worked itself to death in that pot and gotten so thick. So what I'm going to do is start another pot over here, and I've got a few pots that need things in them. My dad, he put these irises and different stuff in a pot and sent down here, and so we're kind of tinkering with that. And these 3 little cabbages, they're the 3 little cabbages that could. They just haven't done much at all this year. I don't know what the deal is. They've same time as my other cabbages, and they've just sat there and just stalled out, and I don't know. I'm gonna fertilize them a little bit. Of course, if it takes them a little while to make, that's okay, because we'll eat our other cabbages first. This is just a big boy tomato plant. I was just trying in a bucket just to see how it does. And there's a little cherry tomato. I'm trying in a bucket, gonna let it grow up in this basket here, just playing around with stuff. I like to tinker around with things. This is our Arkansas black tomato, our Arkansas black apple tree. And you can see it ain't gonna make anything this year. For some reason, our pear tree here, it hasn't made anything, and it's getting a few years, and I think all the time we've had it, it's made a couple of pears, and that's about it. So I'm not sure what we're doing wrong, but there's the cabbages, and they are starting to really come on, and these are kind of smaller, so if they're kind of stair-stepped, that'd be good. I planted spinach here, and that spinach just hasn't really taken off. I'm thinking about planting some Malabar spinach. If you've ever had that, it really grows good here, and grow it in a basket here in this little tub, or another one. And here's another, just a cherry tomato. These are just kind of like our back porch, kitchen garden, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, hey, I'm heading out here now, what I call the big garden, and in it I do more traditional gardening, the way I was raised up, the way my grandparents did it, the way folks around these parts used to do things. They would till up a garden. They'd maybe use a horse and plow to get it broke up good. I'm glad I don't have to do that no more, but I do have a plow that could be hooked up to a horse if it ever comes to that point. But hope you can hear me over the chickens and dogs and choo-choo trains and all of that stuff. Here's my cucumber plants, and they aren't progressed a whole bunch since last week, but they are coming on, and they're starting to get more leaves on them. Some didn't come up at all, and when I planted them the next day, we had a big heavy rain, and I think it washed some of the seeds away, so I have replanted, and some of them are starting to come up. But this is one that's a couple of weeks old since I planted these seeds, but as you can tell, now these are some from just a week ago. There's one from a couple of weeks, but there's another little one coming up there. There's one. So they're starting to come on, and one thing we need here right now is some heat. Some hot weather would get these cucumbers to really kicking her on. Here's some new ones I planted. Like I say, we got that big old rain, and I think it hurt my seeds, so I replanted in spots where I didn't think we had anything coming up. And there's some pretty ones. And since last week, if you watched or not, why, this is the beets. I'm sorry, beets. I was getting confused with turnips and beets. I've got these planted side by side here. So this is beets. Josie loves beets, and this whole little old row here of beets is doing really well. And same thing on it. I think as soon as we've kind of had some cool weather, cool nights, and it's just been a little cooler spring on and off here. It's really more like a spring. It's been a good spring, but I think it's slowed some of our vegetables just a little bit. Even the grass isn't growing as quick as it usually does. I'm not mowing the yard. This is turnips here, and when we had that big rain, I planted these the same time I did the cucumbers, and it kind of washed some of the seeds off down here in some spots, and I actually tilled up some along in here because I'll have more turnips than I know what to do with. These are our bell peppers. These are big Bertha bell peppers, and as you can see there, they're already blooming and starting to make little peppers. And I guess I've got 5 of these big Berthas here. I think one of these is a yellow bell, and we'll find out when they go to making. I'm anxious for stuff to get kicked in here. I usually have stuff a little more advanced by now. This here on this little hill is a watermelon that I planted. And here is some cantaloupes. Josie likes cantaloupes and watermelons, and I honestly am not that much of certainly am not a cantaloupe eater, but I do like a little bit of watermelon, but I'm not real big on that. And this is some black zucchini squash, and it's starting to look, it's coming on, the plants are. They need to get a little bigger, of course, but there's some more. This is some yellow squash. And here is this is going to be a zucchini. I can tell now by the leaf colors. See that black zucchini leaves out like that. So I've ended up with one black zucchini that I started in a coffee can, and I've got 2 plants that's come up in this can that's yellow crookneck squash. And I planted down here and they haven't come up yet. I just planted last Saturday, but the ground's starting to crack open, and I think these should be up pretty quick. I planted Jade green beans down these 2 rows, and we're going to try to grow extra green beans this year and can a few extra jars. We've ran out the last couple of summers of green beans, and we really like home canned green beans. This is black-eyed peas. And that row is kind of sparsely done, but it'll be enough to make us some black-eyed peas. I don't understand what happened. Usually black-eyed peas just do super good here, and maybe the weather being a little cooler. Like I say, we got a big old heavy rain afterwards. This is our green beans, and these are called top crop green beans, and they are really really growing now. They're starting to come on. I'll need to side dress them in a few days. I'll make a little furrow down along the side and put a little triple 13 in there, and that'll really boost them on up, and it won't be long. They'll be up there really tall and blooming and making green beans. This is my okra row, as you can tell. I think you can tell here if the camera's picking that up or not, but there is the okra, and it's coming along, doing really well. And then my tomatoes, and these tomatoes are just doing really good. They're coming on. I've got one down here that something is ate on, and it looks like hornworm problems. You have to really watch of those old hornworms. We hardly ever have hornworms. One year the hornworms was real bad, and I turned the turkeys in here, and those turkeys went to town on them hornworms. They really liked them, and I just left the turkeys in here for a day or two and then took them back out, but that eliminated, and I haven't had any hornworm problem since. I think the turkeys ate up all of the seed. And anyway, got everything planted. I've put me up a wire here, post with wire, so that I can hold my baskets, and it's a little early right now for me to basket these. I went ahead and done this one, but it was just a little early because I was doing these that I did in coffee cans. I went on ahead and mulched this one and put a basket around it, but it's just a little early because what I like to do is let these grow and get a little bit taller, and then rake dirt around them. I've already done it once, but I like to rake a little more dirt and give them some really good support, and then put my cages on them before they get too big. If you let them get too big, you can't get your cages on them. And these that I've done in coffee cans have just taken off, and they're just really doing good. And as you're going along with your tomatoes, you want to make sure and keep them pulled into your cages, because if you're not careful, they will get vined out and they'll go way out, and it's hard to get them back in the cage without breaking the vines. Raising them in cages is my preferred method. Some people prefer to grow them on a trellis, and I have grown them on a trellis, but I like doing it in the cages. And what I do is I come through and I keep these cages from year to year, and it seems like all I got to do is come through once a week and just pull the vines back in. This little feller here, it's got some little blooms there. Well, anyway, I hope you like today's garden update. That's kind of what's going on here in the garden. Right now, to me, the garden looks kind of ugly at this stage, but it's coming along. Every day I see some improvement. It's growing. Like I say, we need really some warm nights, really, more than anything. I think if it's just a little warmer at night. We got back down in the 40s. I noticed that my okra isn't looking as pretty as it did, and I'll tell you, we had one night that I actually think it frosted. The next morning, I really believe we had a light frost, and north of us was under warnings, and we weren't. But my little okra plants, they have noticed around the leaves are looking just a little peaked, and I really think that we had a little frost, and it might have hurt them. I can't tell that it hurt my tomatoes any, and that it wasn't. I mean, if we had a frost, it certainly didn't last very long. But you know, anything you get like that is tricky. But so far, that's garden update this week. I'm trying to every Saturday to show a garden update, what we're doing, and I tell you, I've been enjoying reading about what all you are doing. I do hate it for some of you that live up north that still, some of you in Michigan and places, still getting snow. And it just seems unbelievable for this time of the year. Of course, I know y'all are quite a bit further north than we are here in Oklahoma. But, you know, it's not been long ago, some of the ones like channel I like to watch called Deep South Texas, they had, he's already eaten green beans and new potatoes. So the further south you go, of course, the quicker you get to grow. But if I was up north right now, I would be chomping at the bits to get my garden in. And I hope you can get yours in pretty quick like. And I think one of our viewers said they got snow up in Maine. So I kind of think that's unusual for this time of the year. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that most of the snow was gone by the 1st of May, but maybe not. It sure ain't this year. Hey, I appreciate you watching today. If you're not a subscriber, if you'd like to help our channel, you can do that by subscribing, and also giving us a thumbs up or commenting. If you do all of them, that just helps our channel grow, helps our videos spread, and the algorithms within YouTube community, that's kind of how they work. And so sometimes folks say, you know, hey, how can I help you? Well, if you really want to help me, this is the way you could do it. You can share the videos, you can give us thumbs up, you can comment, and subscribing is a big help too. It's not the biggest thing. The views are very important also, so we appreciate you watching today. May God richly bless you, and we'll see you next time here at Cedar Creek Homestead next week for another garden update. And hopefully it won't be long. I'll be picking a few tomatoes and squash and all of that good stuff. Hey, God bless you. We're gone.